Vetra sat by the large window, her hands resting in her lap, eyes looking at the sky that never changed. The hospital room was clean, quiet, and filled with machines that blinked softly. Outside, birds with long crystal wings flew in slow circles. It had been 10 years since she last walked, 10 years since the accident. Her wheelchair, made of smooth glass and soft metal, moved with her thoughts. But it was not the same. She remembered how it felt to run, to dance, to fall and laugh. Now even falling was a dream. Every day doctors walked past her. Some gave her fake smiles. Some gave her silence. None gave her hope. Your body rejects prosthetics, they had told her. Your nerves are too damaged. It's better not to try. So she didn't. She sat. She watched. And she waited. Until one morning something changed. The door opened with a slow hiss. A man stepped inside. Not tall, not strong-looking, and not alien. He was human. His clothes were simple, his coat long, and his eyes tired. "Hello," he said. Vetra blinked. "You're not from here." "No," he replied. "I'm Dr. Eli Rayan. I just arrived from Earth." She studied him. "Why are you here?" He pulled a small device from his pocket. It showed a spinning model of robotic legs, thin, fast, and strange. "I came to build something," he said. She looked at the model, then back at him. "For who?" "For you." Vetra laughed, not out of joy but pain. "You're too late," she said. "They already tried. It didn't work." Eli nodded. "I read your files. I know what they tried. But I'm not here to repeat their mistakes. I'm here to try something new." She crossed her arms. "Why me?" Eli paused. His voice grew quiet. "Because I failed to save someone else." Vetra stared at him. "Someone I loved," he said. "She lost her legs too. I couldn't help her in time." Silence filled the room. Eli stepped closer. "But I can help you, if you let me." The next day he returned, this time with tools. Not the big loud machines the alien doctors used, but small ones. Quiet ones. Tools shaped by human hands, not built by factories. He showed her the design. The legs would connect directly to her. Thoughts. They would move with her mind, not her muscles. They were lighter than bone, faster than flesh. "I don't want to walk like a robot," she said. "You won't," Eli replied. "You'll walk like you." She didn't say yes. Not right away. But that night, when the lights were off, she stared at her legs. Thin. Still. Useless. She remembered falling once, when she was 6. She scraped her knees and cried. But it didn't hurt like this. This pain was quiet, slow, heavy. The next morning she called Eli. "I'll try." The tests began. Eli scanned her spine. Her nerves were badly damaged. Her brain sent signals, but her body no longer listened. "I'll create new listeners," he said. "Receivers that understand your thoughts directly." It sounded like magic, but Vetra didn't care. Magic was better than nothing. As days passed, her hope began to return. But so did the doubts. Other patients whispered, "Why is she trusting a human? He'll fail, like the others. She's only hurting herself again." Vetra tried to ignore them. But one night, she asked Eli, "What if it doesn't work?" Eli looked at her with soft eyes. "Then, we'll fail together, and try again." That answer was enough. The final step was dangerous. Eli would attach the neural links directly to her spine. If it went wrong, she could lose more than her legs. She could lose her mind. "Do you trust me?" he asked. Vetra took a deep breath. "Yes." As she lay on the table, the lights above buzzed softly. Eli placed the metal limbs beside her, sleek, beautiful, and waiting. He pressed a button. She felt a sharp pain, then fire, then darkness. Her mind screamed. But somewhere in the black, she felt a spark, a toe, a twitch, a pulse, and then nothing. She woke up hours later. Eli sat beside her, his eyes wide, his face pale. He didn't speak. He simply pointed at her legs. They were moving. Slow, small, but they moved. Her lip trembled. Was that me? Eli smiled. Yes. The room was quiet when Vetra opened her eyes again. Her legs weren't just moving now, they were still connected to her. She could feel pressure. She could feel warmth. She could feel herself. Eli was sitting on the other side of the room, head down, hands shaking. Wires and lights blinked behind him, the machines showing lines, signals, and neural patterns dancing like stars. You stayed the whole time? She asked. He looked up. I couldn't leave. Not until I knew your mind was still yours. She smiled weakly. It is. He smiled back. Then we keep going. The next few days were full of firsts. Vetra stood up for the first time in a decade. She took her first step. It was small, wobbly, but it was real. Eli adjusted the settings every hour, making sure the robotic legs responded smoothly. She fell. Twice. She got up each time, and every time she stood again, Eli said just one. We're stronger, but outside the lab. The whispers grew louder. Alien nurses stared through the glass. Too dangerous, one muttered. She's more machine now, said another. She should have accepted her place. Even the chief medical overseer, a tall, pale alien with silver eyes, visited the lab. You've made your point, human, he said coldly. Now stop before someone gets hurt. Eli didn't respond. He only adjusted Vetra's leg joints. That night, Vetra asked the question that had burned in her mind for days. Who was she? Eli paused. Then he sat beside her. My sister, he said quietly. Vetra turned to face him. She was 16 when a transport truck crushed her legs. Earth Tech wasn't ready, our doctors gave up. What happened? Eli's voice cracked. She gave up too. She didn't make it. The silence between them felt heavier than before. I promised myself, he whispered. No one else would have to feel that alone again. The next day, they worked harder. Vetra ran for 3 seconds before falling. She laughed. Eli laughed too. Progress was happening, fast. But so was resistance. An alien officer appeared with a warning document. Dr. Rain, your technology violates interspecies health regulations. You are not certified to implant on Cerealian citizens. It's not an implant, Eli said. It's a connection. Then disconnect it. Eli stood up. She walked today. The officer narrowed his eyes. Then make her sit again. Vetra watched from across the room. She saw how his hands curled into fists, how his voice stayed calm. But his eyes were full of fire. That night, she said, they'll make you stop. Eli looked at her. Then they'll have to break me. The next morning, something strange happened. Vetra woke up early and went to the practice mat before Eli arrived. She took one deep breath and stood. Not just stood, walked. 4 steps, then 5, then 10. When Eli walked in, he froze. She turned around. He couldn't speak, so she did. I'm not broken anymore. But joy didn't last long. The hospital lights flickered. Emergency lights turned red. Doors locked. A robotic voice echoed. Unauthorized tech breach in Lab 7. Guards stormed the hallway. The hospital was under lockdown. They were coming for the legs. They were coming for Eli. The alarms didn't stop. Red lights flashed across the hospital. Security guards marched through the halls, heavy boots shaking the floor. Medical drones flew above, scanning for illegal biotech. Lab 7, Eli's lab, was now under lockdown. Inside, Vetra stood on her new legs, shaking. Not from weakness, from fear. Eli, she whispered. They're going to take them away. Eli was already packing. Let them try. He handed her a long coat. Put this on. Hide the joints. She hesitated. But they'll know. They'll always know, he said. That's not the point. The point is, You walked. Minutes later, they opened the door. 4 alien officers stood. There. You are ordered to shut down the prototype, one barked. Immediately. Vetra stepped forward. She didn't stumble, she didn't fall, she stood straight. Face calm, hands still. I'm not a prototype, she said. The officer blinked. What? I'm not a machine. I'm not a test. I'm not an error. Her voice shook but grew louder. I'm me and I'm walking. One officer raised a scanner. Her legs show non-certified neural tech. Eli moved in front of Vetra. You want to shut something down? Shut me down, not her. The officers paused, then turned to leave. This isn't over. That night, Eli sat in silence. Vetra watched him from the lab bench. You knew this would happen, she said. Yes, he replied. Then why did you come? Eli looked up. Because hope always comes with pain. But pain means we're healing. The next few days were hard. The hospital removed Eli's access to the central systems. They cut power to his tools. Security bots followed him everywhere. And worst of all, they spread rumors that Vetra's body was failing, that the human tech was poisoning her, that she would never walk again. At first, Vetra ignored them, but the whispers were sharp, and soon, so were the stares. Patients turned away. A young alien girl she once smiled at now screamed when she passed. She couldn't enter the cafeteria anymore, not without feeling like a monster. One morning during training, she fell. Hard. Her knee hit the ground. Sparks flew from the joint. The pain shot up her spine. Eli rushed to her side. You okay? She pushed him away. Why did you do this to me? He froze. I was used to sitting. I was okay with it. But now I walk. And everyone hates me. For it. Her voice broke. They hate what I am. They hate what you made me. Eli knelt beside her. I didn't make you, he said softly. You made this choice. And you made these steps. She looked at him, tears rising. Then why does it hurt so much? Because you're growing, he whispered. And growth always hurts. Later that night, Vetra stood in front of a mirror. She removed the coat, looked at her legs, silver, shining, strong, but not hers. Or were they? She touched the scars near the connection points, felt the warmth inside. They were not perfect, but they were alive and they were hers. The next morning she walked to the training hall. Alone. No Eli. No guards. No fear. She stepped onto the center mat and stood tall. And then she ran. Not fast, not smooth, but proud. Every step echoed like thunder. Nurses peeked in, patients watched, from behind walls. She didn't stop. She didn't fall. She didn't ask for permission. She claimed the ground. Eli arrived later, carrying repairs and tools. He saw her standing there, legs steaming, sweat on her brow, chest rising with power. You walked again, he said. She turned, smiling for real. No, she replied. I dared again. A live demonstration will take place in the Grand Medical Forum. The human experiment will be evaluated before all council observers. They didn't say Vetra's name. They didn't call her a person, just experiment. Eli slammed, his tools down. This is a trap. Vetra stayed quiet. They want to humiliate you, he said. They'll scan you, mock the legs, say it's fake, then tear it all down. She looked at him with calm eyes, then let them look. The Grand Medical Forum was built like a temple. White floors, golden walls, dozens of cameras, seats full of leaders, doctors, and media. The room hummed with tension. At the center was a glowing stage. Eli stood at the edge, fists tight. Then, the doors opened, and Vetra entered. She wore no armor, no cloak, no coat to hide the legs. She walked in with slow, quiet steps, no music, no guards, no introduction, just her. Every camera turned, some gasped, some whispered, some laughed. She didn't speak. She just walked, all the way to the center, and stood. A tall alien doctor, head of the council board, stepped forward. "Subject Vetra," he said coldly, "you are here to prove the humans' technology is stable, safe, and legal. Failure to demonstrate will lead to termination of all prosthetic systems." Eli shouted from the side. "She's not a test subject." The crowd ignored him. The lights dimmed, and the test began. First came the scan. Machines flew around her body, taking readings. Neural link active. Balance system stable. Power source internalized. The data shocked them. "How is that possible?" One scientist whispered. "These readings are perfect." The council leader stepped forward again. "We still demand a live motion test." Vetra nodded. Still, she said nothing. Then, she ran. She moved across the stage like wind. Fast, graceful. Not robotic, not forced. She turned sharply, spun, stopped, and stood still again. The audience was silent. They had expected wires, shaking, failure. But what they saw was poetry, a body reborn, not made. One councilwoman stood. "This technology is too advanced for one man to design alone." Eli shouted back, "No, it's not. It just took someone who believed." The leader raised a hand. "Enough." He turned to Vetra. "Remove the legs." The room froze. "What?" someone whispered. "You've passed the test, but the technology is not approved. We cannot allow unauthorized systems inside a living citizen." Vetra stepped forward. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She simply placed her hand over her heart, and then, with steady strength, she knelt. Gasps spread through the crowd. Her voice finally broke the silence. "If these legs must go, then take them from me yourselves." No one moved, not even the guards. Because deep inside, every soul in that room understood one truth. This wasn't about tech. This was about freedom, and no one could erase what she had become. Child in the audience stood up. She was missing an arm. She clapped, then another, then dozens, then the entire room. The council leader stepped back, shaken. For the first time, the system bent, not from war, but from a walk. That night, the news spread across star systems. She spoke without words, and she stood for all of us. The video of Vetra's silent walk spread faster than light. One clip, one step, one kneel, watched by billions. Aliens in far-off mining colonies played it on broken screens. Younglings with missing limbs cried quietly. Doctors and soldiers argued over it. Some called it a miracle. Others called it dangerous. Inside a small, medical transport station on the moon Kirill 9, a boy with no legs whispered, "Can she make them for us too?" A mother on Draskell Prime watched the clip and held her disabled child tighter. A rebel doctor on Thin System downloaded the blueprints Eli had secretly released overnight. And on a dark council world, deep underground, a shadowed voice hissed, "She's unbalancing the order." Back in the hospital, Eli worked day and night. The lab was no longer his. They had locked him out, so he built in secret, in the storage room, in the hallways, in the corners where no one watched. Wires, frames, energy cells, and hope. Vetra helped him, not just by walking, but by showing others they could. A girl missing an arm, a boy missing a voice, an old veteran with no spine. They all came to Lab 7 and left with fire in their eyes. One night, Vetra sat beside Eli as he tested a new joint. Her voice was soft. "Why do you keep building even when they threaten you?" He didn't answer at first. Then he held up a small round object. A heartbeat reader, one he built for his sister long ago. "It stopped working the day she died," he said. "But now," he placed it on Vetra's chest. "Beep, beep, beep." He smiled. "It works again." But peace didn't last. That same night, Eli's storage room exploded. Files gone, tools burned. The patients were forced back to their beds. Armed guards patrolled the hallway. The new head of hospital security was no doctor. She wore battle armor and her eyes glowed red. She confronted Eli. Your work breaks council law. Eli didn't flinch. So do broken bones, but we still fix them. The officer's voice was cold. If you keep building, you'll lose your license, your status, your freedom. Vetra stood behind him. You forgot something, she said. The officer turned. I already lost everything once. These legs are not the threat. She stepped closer, eyes steady. People like you are. That night, the first silent protest took place outside the hospital. Dozens of patients, many once forgotten, stood quietly in the rain. No signs, no chants, just standing. Together, with makeshift limbs, canes, and braces. They stood, and the EI world noticed. Eli looked out the window, hand shaking. He whispered, They see us now. Vetra placed her hand over his. No, they see you. But far above, in a black ops cruiser hidden in orbit, a voice gave a quiet order. Terminate the human engineer. Deactivate the prototype girl. Burn everything. It started with silence. No alarms, no warnings. Just darkness. The hospital lights went off one by one. Hallways dimmed, screens flickered, and then came the voice. All staff report to lower levels. This is a security override. Emergency protocol, termination order 7. Eli looked up from his tools. He knew that code. It meant someone was coming to erase everything. Vetra stood in the training room, adjusting her new leg brace when she felt it. The floor, humming, not like a tremor, more like a warning. She turned. Eli rushed in, eyes wide. They're not just coming for us, he said. They're coming to shut this place down for good. Guards filled the hallways, black suits, no symbols. They weren't hospital security. They were execution squads. One of the patients, a child with spinal supports, was pulled from his bed. No, Vetra shouted. She charged forward, faster than ever. She slammed into the guards, knocking one to the wall. Eli grabbed the boy. Run, he yelled. Down the back halls they raced. Old vents, broken lifts, places no one used anymore. Patients followed. 15, then 30. Some walked on metal, some crawled with half-finished limbs, some held each other up. They weren't fast, but they moved together. In the old storage wing, Eli locked the door behind them. He looked at the scared faces, at Vetra. This is what they feared, he said. Not the tech, not the wires. You, walking, thinking, free. An old soldier in the group stood up. Half his face was synthetic. I've seen this before, he growled. They fear what gives. Others hope. A young alien girl with a mechanical arm whispered, We're not patients anymore. Vetra looked around. She didn't see weakness. She saw strength, metal mixed with muscle, pain mixed with purpose. They weren't broken. They were becoming. The door shook. They were out of time. Eli opened a panel in the wall, an old cargo exit. You can escape through here. It leads to the city streets. Vetra stepped forward. And you? He smiled. I'll stay. Delay them. She shook her head. No more hiding. She turned to the others. We were silent. We were ignored. We were told to stay small. She raised her voice. No more. She stepped into the light, and they followed. Outside, the city saw a strange sight, a line of wounded, limping, glowing figures walking out of the emergency wing. No guns, no chants, just eyes full of fire. The crowd stopped. The guards froze. Vetra walked forward, her metal feet clicking loud in the silence. Eli beside her, the others behind. She looked at the squad commander. No more fear. And then she raised her foot and stomped. The shockwave from the new limb, upgraded, reinforced, shattered the pavement beneath her. Everyone jumped back. The guards raised weapons, but the crowd moved forward. Citizens, patients, workers. Everyone walked, not toward fear but toward freedom. That night the news exploded. The ones who couldn't walk now lead the march. Across systems, people began building their own limbs. The blueprints were everywhere. The council issued bans. No one listened. In a quiet room, the head of the termination squad removed her helmet. Her face was pale. She whispered into the comm. "We lost them." "No," said the voice on the other end. "You lost control." The world was watching now. Not just one planet, not just one species, but all of them. Screens lit up in the darkest corners of space. On asteroid farms, mining ships, sky cities, and battlefronts, eyes turned to a simple message. Transmission begins. From the human and the girl who walked. The camera focused on Vetra. She stood on a high rooftop. The wind moved through her hair. Her legs, sleek silver and dark steel, stood strong beneath her. Behind her stood hundreds, former patients. Survivors, fighters, aliens of every shape and kind. And beside her, Eli Rayan, the man who once worked alone in a quiet lab, now seen as the father of a revolution. Eli stepped forward. No speech, just one sentence. "We're not here to ask permission anymore." He stepped back. Vetra looked at the horizon. Far below, the council had sent a final warning. Ships hovered above the city. Weapons charged. Crowds screamed. Snipers aimed. This was supposed to be the end. But she didn't wait. She ran. Faster than ever. Faster than human. Faster than alien. She ran along the edge of the rooftop, each step sending sparks into the air. Drones followed. Cameras shook. The world held its breath, and when she reached the rooftop's edge, she jumped. The world gasped. She flew through the air, arms wide, metal legs burning with power. Below her, thousands gathered. Some could not walk. Some could barely breathe. But when they saw her fly, they stood. She landed in the center of the plaza, hard, loud, alive, and when the dust cleared, she was still standing. A young alien boy in a wheelchair rolled forward, eyes wide. "Is it really you?" he whispered. She knelt before him. "Do you want to walk?" He nodded, eyes full of tears. "Then let's build something," she said. "Together." Eli walked beside her. The cameras caught every second. They didn't run from the world. They walked into it. Months passed. The council banned Eli's work, but no one obeyed. The blueprints lived on. The people rose. What started as one girl became millions, and in every hospital, every rehab center, every lonely corner of a broken world, a sign began to appear. "Stand if you can, fight if you must, but never ever let them break your heart." Eli never returned to Earth. He didn't need to. He had already saved it. Not by curing war. Not by stopping death. But by helping one girl believe she could take her first step again. And that step shook the stars. Final lines. Emotional ending. She thought she'd never walk again. He thought he'd never forgive himself, but in the end, they both ran, and the galaxy will never forget it.